beginning to look a lot like last year. Every game I watch.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. Here on a Sunday night, the Blazers regress offensively and can't make a three. They shoot 6 for 33 from three-point land as they fall to the Chicago Bulls 104-96. This was a game where the Blazers had injury questions going into it, but basically everybody played, and the Blazers still lose at home to a mediocre Chicago Bulls team. This team had started to make some headway, it seemed, over a stretch there a few games ago, but what happens, Eric? It always regresses. So we're going to talk about this disappointing performance tonight, some disappointing individual performances, some good individual performances. We got it all tonight. And this postgame show is brought to you by BetUS. Later on in the stream, Eric, we're going to take a look at Super Bowl odds, lines, whatever they got for the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl's set. And oh my goodness, as a Niners fan, I love your shirt. And we went on an absolutely emotional roller coaster earlier today. And I'm still on cloud nine. That was absolutely insane, that game. So I'm on cloud nine. How you feeling?
Oh man, dude, I don't know if I can take another game like that. Just, going through the emotions of, oh man, our season's over. They choked to, oh my God, we're gonna win this game. It's just for 2 straight weeks. It's crazy.
Yeah, like that might be the best I've ever felt after a win. It's up there with, the Dame buzzer beaters. Those were obviously like just insane moments. This one was like you're on the doorstep of playing in the Super Bowl, have a chance at a championship, have a chance at my first championship, and to go from thinking the game was over at halftime down 24-7 that quickly to tying it. Oh my goodness, if you guys aren't an NFL fan or didn't watch that game, You guys don't understand the emotions me and Eric just went through today. But and then after that, we got this game. I'll be quite honest with you. I did not really watch this game because the Niners game was on during the start of this game. I did watch the fourth quarter. I did see some of the struggles. We're going to take away some, we're obviously going to talk takeaways. And I'm going to try and watch some footage on certain things and come up with my opinions based off that, but we're just hanging out tonight. The Blazers do play tomorrow against the 76ers, and then they play January 31st, Wednesday, against the Bucks, which is Dame's return game, so there is some monumental games coming up, I guess. You got the trade deadline on February 8th. We're going to have a lot to talk about in the coming week. Tonight, just kind of enjoying life, but also this performance, not so good.
Yeah, so I tried to watch as much of it as I could. I had it on my computer while watching the Niner game. Obviously missed a few plays here and there, but for the most part I watched it and then watched the whole second half after the Niner game. So got a pretty good feel for what happened. Got a couple
so I'm
of
gonna lean
donations.
on you. Yeah, I'm going to lean on you on this post-game show, and we're obviously going to do Tankathon as the Blazers lost, and we can talk some prospects as well. There's a couple little thoughts I have on a couple guys that I want to start talking about. Shout out to Conan Dune with a $5 donation, said, Chiefs and Swifties coming for the 49ers. Bro, bring it. Bring it on. Let's get our revenge. I don't care who we're playing, but it is kind of nice to have a chance at revenge against that team. And it's kind of nice that, you know, the nation isn't going to be completely rooting against the 49ers like they were when everybody was cheering for the Lions and we were the hated team. Now the rest of the nation is rooting for both teams to lose somehow, but, you know, I think the Chiefs might be the one team that's more hated universally than the Niners. So I'm cool with that. Would love to get revenge on the Chiefs and the Swifties. I guess it wouldn't be revenge on the Swifties because she wasn't in Travis Kelce's life back then. So thank you for the donation. Shout out to Anthony Lalkuma, $2 donation, says, bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go, man. Appreciate you, bro. Yeah, it's kind of weird. I kind of wish the Blazers had like a buzzer beater win so my energy would have matched this game. It's just weird being, this is the happiest I've been on a bad game post-game show probably in my life in the 5 years of doing this, Eric, so it's a little strange right now.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't miss a great performance from either one of these teams, actually. So, but yeah, I think when you have that many people on the injury report and they all end up playing, I think a lot of them weren't 100%, and that you could definitely tell. But the Blazers, man, if you just, like, you having not watched much of this game, just looked at the box score.
Which is what I'm doing right now, yeah.
You know, team stats, we out-rebound them. We only give up 5 offensive rebounds. We don't score many fast break points, only 4. They score 15, so we continue to not run when our offense is sputtering. That's frustrating.
So there's I'm looking at the box score right now, not to cut you off, but I'm curious before you dive in too deep. There is one thing that jumps off the page to me, one specific stat. Do you know what it is?
There are 5 turnovers.
There are 4 turnovers is what ESPN says. But yes.
Oh, well, they had a team turnover. Yeah, in the box score it says 4, but yep.
Yeah, 4, 5. No turnovers for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so we did a good job on the rebounds, the defensive rebounds. We shoot 12 more free throws than them and shoot almost 90% from the line. So it wasn't free throws. So yeah, you look at it and they got 11 more shots than us. Mm-hmm. And despite not getting any offensive rebounds really, to get 11 more shots is ridiculous if you only give up 5 offensive rebounds. And then Blazers shoot. They hold them to 25% from 3, 8 for 32, but the Blazers are even worse at 6 for 33. And it's just not going to get the job done.
Yeah, ugly basketball. It's just wild how this team doesn't force turnovers anymore. They were forcing turnovers at a pretty high rate earlier in the season. They're not doing it anymore. And that was supposed to be their identity, is they'll get in the passing lanes, they're athletic, they want to try and get out and run. They haven't done that all season, but they were going to force turnovers and be scrappy, right? It's not that they don't seem to be giving effort or anything. They just aren't forcing turnovers. And it's been a problem because they're already kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of their 3-point shooting. They're not a good shooting team, right? And they're not the greatest offensive team. So either they have to have a hot shooting night or they have to get more shots up than the opponent. And the one way you get up more shots is by offensive rebounds and forcing more turnovers than you're turning the ball over. And 5 turnovers, whatever it was, is just not great when you're turning over the ball 13 times. You know, you don't want to have to rely on turning the ball over defensively if you're just trying to be a solid defensive team, but it is kind of crazy how that has regressed over the last 3 weeks or so.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're not getting any turnovers, that's definitely contributing to not getting out and running at all. but they're still not like other teams run on us on made baskets. The Bulls did it a couple times to us again tonight. Yeah, it's frustrating to see other teams, not necessarily the Bulls for a majority of this game, but they did take advantage of it a couple times.
Four fast break points for us, Eric.
Yeah.
That's just
So
boring. We
17.
force no turnovers and don't get out and run. We are just constantly stuck in the half court. And we're shooting 18% from three. Like, that's just disgusting, boring basketball.
Yeah, and so you look at points off turnovers, 17-7 advantage for them. We lose by 8. You look at fast break points, 15-4. That's 11-point difference. We lose by 8. Points in the paint, 52-40, 12-point difference. We lose by 8. It just kind of adds up there. Like we're not making a conscious effort, in my opinion. And I thought there were points in this game where we moved the ball well, especially to Ayton cutting down the middle. Ayton had a bunch of dunks in this game, which was awesome to see. But outside of that, I didn't think the ball movement was great either. Only ended up with 22 assists. But of course, when you shoot so poorly, it's going to happen.
Yeah. I want to kind of just jump into some individual performances here. And the first guy I want to talk about is Anthony Simons. So his stat line is not good. 4 for 15, right? 11 points on the night for him. But he did have 8 assists, 7 rebounds, only 1 turnover. And there's a comment in chat talking about the Ant hate getting bad, which Ant is coming off a game where he had 40 and 10. Okay? Ant struggled in this game, but 3 of his assists were feeding DeAndre Ayton. Ayton, to start this game, gets an alley-oop dunk off a nice lob pass from Anthony Simons. What's funny is I assume the hate is coming from the same people that say that Ant can't affect the game unless he's scoring the ball. But in this game, he has 8 assists with 1 turnover. He has 7 rebounds. Okay, but he shoots the ball bad. So if people aren't going to give him credit for being able to do other things, then it feels like moving the goalpost to me, because that's what the criticism normally is. When he shoots the ball bad, it's, he can do nothing else. His passing isn't good. He's not a rebounder. He's not a defender. Well, he rebounded and defended tonight. I thought his defense was fine, at least in the plays that I watched him. And he also passed the ball. He had 8 assists. He didn't turn over the ball. Had 1 turnover. So he did some other things. He shot the ball bad. You're going to have nights where you shoot the ball bad. But there was other things he did well. And it's just funny how he doesn't get the credit for 8 assists, 1 turnover. He doesn't get credit for his passing from the same people that try and make it out like he can't do anything but score. Isn't this what we want from Ant when he's not hitting shots, to be able to make a play for somebody else, to be able to draw the defense, to be able to have 8 assists, to feed Ayton?
To get Ayton going, yeah.
I thought that's what people wanted. So I'm kind of curious where the goalposts are now, because it just seems like it's based on his shooting, and that's it.
Yeah, I think, in my opinion, he's the main reason why Ayton's been good the last 3 games. Is just Ant's outright effort to get him the ball multiple times. And there was a play tonight where Ayton got the ball in the post, and he got kind of flat-footed, couldn't shoot, so he kicked it out to Ant, and Ant was waiting for him to repost, and Ayton just stood there with his back turned and didn't repost. He could have sealed. He would have had pretty deep position, and Ant was ready to throw it right back to him. And Ayton just stood there with his back turned, didn't even move. And then the ball got passed to Jeremy or something up top, and they passed it back to Anthony, and he looked again for DeAndre in the post and still wasn't ready to get the pass. So then Ant had to take a bad 3-point shot as the shot clock ran down. But yeah, so I think he's really trying to get Ayton going, and I like that mindset because does it really matter if we won this game or he shoots 4 for 15 or 15 for 15? I think the main thing this year is chemistry and getting him to have a feel for when to play make and when to take over games and stuff like that. And I think he's really trying to learn that. So I'm not going to kill him for shooting bad. It's not like he took like 25 shots instead of 15. So yeah, I think,
and it's also not like there was anyone else on this team shooting wise tonight that I would have rather had shooting the ball than him.
Right.
This team shot terribly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I think I mean, it sucks. I want him to shoot well, but yeah, I think he's trying to at least be a person who can run an offense and to get teammates involved. He's not just like ball hogging. It's not like he's not playing like, because I saw this in chat already, that he should be a 6-man again.
I mean, literally, the second he has a game where he struggles, it doesn't matter that he scored 40 points with 10 assists last game. The second he struggles, there's always these people that say, see, he needs to go, or he has to be a 6th man. Like, they're just waiting for validation for that opinion. The moment he struggles, they can't wait to make that point.
But what I'm seeing from him is not like a Jamal Crawford type 6-man guy, right? Or Jordan Clarkson type 6-man. I think he's actually showing an effort to try to run a team. And I mean, we talked about this before. He's probably shouldn't be like the number one option on a really good team. Although if you had like better teammates, like maybe, but like I don't understand why we're killing him, because he can't be a number one option, and that means he has to be the 6th option. Like,
yeah,
like
what are we talking about here?
There's like 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th in between 1st option and 6th option, you know?
Yeah, but that nuance, that context is out the window, because it's more so it feels like people, for whatever reason, want to bring him down or want to act like he's not a good player. Baffles me, but it's been a thing, and it's something I predicted before it even started when I said people are going to start treating Anthony Simons exactly like they treated CJ McCollum. At least the people that hated on CJ McCollum. And now we're fully here. So, you know, this wasn't a good game from him tonight, but the entire offense was a mess. He was a part of the reason why Ayton shot 9 for 12, okay? Ayton was like our only efficient player, other than Thibault, I guess, was 3 for 5. Scoot was 2 for 4. Ayton was our only efficient starter. You make the case, Grant, he got to the line 16 times, so pretty efficient night. Yeah. But 9 for 12 from Ayton, I mean, Ayton's been playing well. I think some of it is Ant's started to do a better job setting him up. Of course, Ayton missed a lot of time. Ant missed a lot of time. These guys haven't gotten to play together much at all. So building that chemistry is a good thing, especially since I assume Ayton's going to be on the team next year, right? Like, I don't expect them to get rid of his contract or anything like that. So Simons and Ayton need to build that chemistry in the pick and roll. And seems like they're slowly starting to do that. I've never really seen Ant throw lobs on pick and rolls. We've seen him throw, I think, 3 the last couple of games, so you'll take it, you know? But yeah, rough shooting night. Couldn't really buy a call either. A lot of Blazers had rough shooting nights. Malcolm Brogdon had a rough shooting night. Duop Reith had a rough shooting night. This is just a rough shooting night all around. So the Ant stuff, you know, I do like that he's trying to get guys involved. He's trying to learn how to be a number one option when he's better suited to be a number 2 option. That does not mean he should be a 6th option, because he doesn't have a great game as the number 1 option every single game.
Yep. And you know I love you, Colonel Pancakes, but he says Simon shouldn't go, but he didn't have it going tonight. Should have went to Ayton. Go to the players that got it going. I don't know how it's physically possible for Anthony to get Ayton more involved as one person to another person than he has been the last few games. Like, he's doing everything he can to pass to him almost every single time. And I don't understand what he's supposed to do to get him the ball even more than he's doing.
Yeah, he has to be aggressive to draw the defense away from Ayton to open up stuff for Ayton, right? If he stops shooting the ball, the defense isn't going to respect him the same. The defense isn't going to rotate as hard towards him when he drives. The pick and roll defender isn't going to be leaning towards him when he comes off the screen. They're just going to stay home on the big man if Ant's not aggressive. So that's the thing that I will continue to reiterate about lethal scores that can pass, or good scores that can pass, is them remaining aggressive even when their shot isn't falling is a good thing. Because, A, the only way they're going to start hitting shots is if they keep taking shots, and B, the defense, a lot of times, as we've seen with Ant, even if he has a bad shooting night, will still respect him. He still can draw multiple guys, and that opens up things for other people. That's why we can't just sit here and say, okay, what was his shooting percentage? Oh, 30%, bad game. Nothing else matters. He should be a sixth man. Oh, 50%? Okay, that's fine, but and then we start making other caveats like scoring is the only thing he can do, right? So just the negative mindset towards him from a lot of people continues to baffle me. He's going to have games like these, but I think he's making concerted effort to get guys involved, so I don't and I'm not saying Colonel Pancakes is I'm not saying you're the one with the negative mindset, cuz I know you're not. You're pretty fair in here, but it's a delicate balance that is hard to find on a game-by-game basis. Mm-hmm. And he's trying his best, and this is still part of development. The problem is we got so many young players that we view Ant as somebody that can't get any better, it feels like at times, because he's been in the league 6 years. He's still barely 24 years old, okay? I forget when his birthday was, but he's 24 years of age. He's not in his prime yet. This is still stuff that he can learn, and it's stuff he's trying to learn. So at this point, bad shooting night, okay, I want to see him trying to get guys involved. I thought he did. I want to see him remain aggressive, not lose his confidence, because that's going to make it easier for him to get guys involved. I think he did. Okay, I want to see him rebound the ball a little bit more, especially to make up for a guy like Jeremy Grant, who's not the best rebounder, although Grant had 7 rebounds today for his credit. Good job, Grant. So as far as Simons goes, people say I'm too defensive on him, but man, I just think he gets nitpicked like crazy, and people are waiting for a shooting night like this just to point towards it.
Yeah, my opinion is, he's only played 23 games this season. I'm not sure if tonight was 23 or 24, but still, either way, he hasn't ever had to deal with being the guy on a team while also dealing with this kind of defensive coverage that he's seeing pretty much every night now, with how much pressure, how much double teams, how much attention he's getting from off-ball players. And it's going to take some time for him to learn and grow and how to manage that attention. You don't just go from being, a secondary option and doing well to being the main option and receiving all this defensive attention to, oh yeah, I'm perfect at handling all of it right away without any sort of like ups and downs or like time to adjust to it or anything like that. So I really think, and then I mentioned this, it's not an excuse. I'm saying this for everyone who played tonight, because they were all questionable, including Ant had bruised ribs or something. It's not easy to shoot with bruised ribs either. So like tonight, like I said, that's not an excuse, but Scoot has a thigh contusion or whatever. It's not easy to run with a thigh contusion, and that's maybe why he didn't play a ton of minutes. But I don't know, Jeremy has back problems. It's hard to play basketball with back issues too. Like all these people were like game time decisions. It's I don't know. It's just weird to me that we're focused so much on, oh, he can't do this, when you're not even willing to give him time to learn how to play this role.
And he has effectively played this role in a ton of games this year too.
Right.
That's the other part.
He's shown really good flashes.
If he struggled every single game, okay, sure, fine. But he hasn't. Last game he had 40 and 10. So instead of analyzing things, people are being prisoner of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he has a bad game. He was coming off of 2 good games, and now he has a bad game. He did struggle a little bit after he came back from an illness that made him miss 2 separate stretches of time. So I don't know if it was 2 different illnesses or
3,
1.
actually.
Yeah, 3. Like, he's been under the weather for weeks. Okay, hopefully he's good now. Was questionable going into this game. Let's not be prisoner in the moment about literally everything. Simons will be fine. He did some other things in this game. Did not shoot the ball well.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Can I address one more thing about Ant before we move on?
Sure.
Well, Bob's saying he's a horror defender. Did you guys not watch games? Players always want Simons to be switched on. For example, DeRozan got switched 3 straight baskets from just getting a switch on Simons. Do you realize that that's a defensive scheme problem? Like, we're just switching and then not giving any help. Like, any point guard who's Anthony's size is going to have issues guarding DeMar DeRozan. He's a master at shooting the mid-range over the top of smaller defenders.
And he's 6'7".
And they hunted those, and the Blazers provided no help for Anthony, and they provided no like hedging of the screen. They didn't try to fight through the screens. They just automatically switched. And they even mentioned this in the Blazers broadcast. Lamar said this. They were welcoming the switch for Simons onto DeRozan. Like, you can't then blame Anthony for not playing good defense when that was literally our coach's decision to let Anthony sink or swim against one of the best ISO scorers in the league still, even at his age. Like, so, I mean, yes, at times his defense is questionable. I will say tonight with his defense, we talked about transition defense and getting back a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So Anthony was doing the opposite of what I've been talking about. He was getting back, but he would run all the way back to under the basket and like wait for the guy to drive into the paint before he came out. And that's not what you want to do either. You want to get back and stop him near the 3-point line so he can't get downhill coming at you. And he got in trouble and got a lot of baskets scored on him because he waited too long to come out. So that's another thing we have to work on. Now that you get back, you have to still get back and then be in the right positions and stuff like that. But at least he was hustling back tonight. But yeah, he was bad guarding in transition, but he was kind of out of position and stuff. But like, there's plenty of stuff to critique about his defense, but him switching because that's our strategy on defense isn't one of them.
Yeah. Like Trevin says in chat, our point guard can't even guard their star small forward. Like, it's not the right matchup, you know? But that goes exactly to my point, Eric, where people are just ready to rant about how bad Ant is at something. Mm-hmm. Where he's 6'3", he's a point guard getting switched onto a small forward who's 6'7", who excels shooting over smaller players because of the scheme. And instead of blaming the scheme, they're blaming Ant for being terrible on defense. Literally just proves my point even further. Shout out to Josh Sargent, $5 donation, says, y'all think we'll get a good deal for Brogdon on the trade market? P.S. I'm not the Josh Sargent from Twitter. That sucks. Yeah, I've noticed that there's 2 because I think you like us more than the other guy.
Well, yeah, I after the second time that happened, Josh, I now know that you aren't the same guy. So yeah, I know that now. But thanks for always reminding us. It's always good to do so.
Yeah. Even if you're on Twitter under the same name, then I don't know how to differentiate you, but I do.
I think he said he's not on Twitter in the past.
Okay, yeah. So we got YouTube Josh Sargent, and we got Twitter Josh Sargent, and they're different people. That's kind of crazy. Because that last name isn't super common. Like, I think this is the only 2 times I've seen that last name that I can remember, and you guys are both named Josh apparently. So that's just a insane coincidence.
The other Josh hates us, man.
Dude,
he's always talking about that.
He does not like us at all. So yeah, because I think there's a time where I brought up Twitter Josh Sargent to YouTube Josh Sargent, and it was really confusing. And then I understood, because that guy wouldn't be donating to us. Shout out to the Josh Sargent that will appreciate you, bro. Shout out to DJDU
Oh,
WJ
let's answer his other question first, Josh's.
Oh, no. Well, we're going to talk about Brogdon. So I'm
Okay.
going to answer your question when I get to Brogdon. The next dono has to do with an Ant trade suggestion. So
Okay.
to wrap up Ant, shout out to DJDU WJIEID. I don't know how to say it, so I spelled it. Shout out to him for a $5 donation. Says, would you do this deal? Ant to the Spurs for Zach Collins, Doug McDermott, and a first. Depends on what first it is. If it's their first this year that's unprotected, maybe. But I don't think the Spurs do it. If it's for any other first that's worse than that, hell no. Hell no. And I don't even know if I do it for their first this year if it was unprotected. Because I am not confident in the top of this draft.
Yeah. And then they fall and it ends up being like 6th or something. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, I don't like the first might be nice, might not be. Maybe that I don't know. I think that's something you wait until the deadline. I mean, not the deadline, the actual draft. Like if you get like the 2nd or 3rd pick for him or something, or you can move up from 4 to 1 or something, maybe consider it. But I mean, McDermott's an expiring contract. I think that's just a throw in for salary wise. And Zach is, I mean, it'd still be nice to have Zach, but I'm not like giving up value for him at this point with the, like he hasn't played good enough in my opinion to trade Ant for him or anything right now.
Yeah. Agreed. Now let's talk about Brogdon. Brogdon had a rough night tonight as well. 4 for 13 from the field. Oh my god, dude. I gotta mute my phone. I don't know why it's not muted. Okay. Brogdon, 4 for 13, 1 for 6 from 3, 16 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. Had a couple of steals. Goes to the line 7 times, makes all 7 of his free throws, but bad shooting night. He's 3 for 7 inside the arc, 1 for 6 from 3. Not a good shooting night from him. He's been shooting the ball pretty well. He's been playing pretty well lately, but this was a rough game as well. I think we're just counting down the days until he's traded, and that would have to happen in the next week and a half. I think there's a good chance that it happens days before the trade deadline. I think there's a good chance that it happens in the next week. So honestly, I don't even really care, Eric, to analyze his play tonight. I mean, what's the point?
I mean, we said this before, like maybe it was a thigh contusion or whatever, but like I want to get to a point where like we lost by 8. Like this would have been another good game to have Scoot in there at the end, getting some minutes in crunch time, learning how to play and learning how to finish games. Like we need him to learn that. Like, what are we doing with Malcolm? Like,
especially when Malcolm doesn't play well. If he played well, okay, fine. He plays 38 minutes tonight in a game that, to your point, we lose by 8.
Wasn't he questionable too? He's playing 38 minutes.
Questionable. We're about to trade him, or should be about to trade him, and we're playing him 38 minutes when he's 4 for 13 in a game that we lose by 8 at home to the Bulls, and we're playing our 3rd overall pick point guard from this past year's draft 22 minutes.
And he's injury prone.
Yeah, like, do you guys see why this team drives me crazy with how directionless they are? They are directionless with literally everything, it feels like. And like this individual game, Brogdon versus Scoot, I mean, well, doesn't add up, doesn't make sense to me at all.
JP Savvy says, what are we doing should be the Blazers mod.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure they know what they're doing. It's funny because people talk about like, yeah, Cronin's telling Chauncey who to play and how much to play him. I don't always buy that. Mm-hmm. Does Cronin really want Brogdon playing 38 minutes right now, assuming he's about to trade him? Or is Cronin not about to trade him and we're just completely screwed? Like,
oh man, can you imagine this conversation 2 weeks from now after the trade deadline and we're still talking about Malcolm Brogdon playing 38 minutes over Scoot playing 20 minutes? I am going to rage every single post-game show if that's the case.
I am going to worship the All-Star break if that's the case. Every day I'm going to wake up thanking God or whoever. I'm not going to get into religion. But I'm going to wake up thanking a higher power that there's not a Blazer game during the All-Star break if Malcolm Brogdon's still on this team.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have more and more and more and more post-game shows where we are talking about Scoot playing 20 minutes while Brogdon plays almost 40 minutes in a game that we lose by 8 to a mediocre team at home.
Yeah. Woj is in here breaking news, I guess.
Adrian Wojnarowski, $5 donation, says, my sources are saying a Robert Williams trade is imminent. So the troll has switched up his trolling. Instead of being under a random name saying Wojbomb on his dono, he's now under the name Adrian Wojnarowski, and he's actually leaking stuff. So at least he got a little bit more elaborate with it.
Yeah, I'll let that one slide because it's kind of funny, but...
Yeah. Like 9:30 at night, Blazers just played.
Like, obviously, Adrian
Robert
Wojnarowski is not in here donating $5 to the Blazers Uprise
to
breaking
let us
news.
know. You sure? You sure? Hey, Woj, you can come on for an interview if you wish, if you really want to. You don't have to pay money, bro. I'll gladly welcome you on the stream. Yeah, well, I'll pay you $5. How about that? Yeah, what were we saying? Like Brogdon, this needs to get cleared up in the next week and a half. I'm tired of games like this. What does this do for our future in a game that we lose where we're playing them 38 minutes and Scoot 22? And people say, it's just one game. If Scoot plays an extra 10 minutes, that's not going to mean anything. Okay, sure. But when it happens in a bunch of games, then it adds up. And Scoot needs NBA reps. And in this game, I don't think Scoot was particularly bad at all. I know he came in with a thigh contusion, so maybe they limited his minutes because of that. But, like, everybody was questionable, so I don't really get it. He was 2 for 4, though. 4 assists, 2 turnovers. 2-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. Then shooting 50% from the field in 22 minutes. Like, he didn't do much, but he didn't do bad. So
in the first half, he did get 2 fouls, like, right away, but they kept him in. And then he only got 1 the rest of the game, so that shouldn't have mattered.
Yeah.
Because he played through the 2 fouls and didn't commit another one, so that was good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm tired of it. I'm just please trade Brogdon. Please get back up first. I expect them to get back up first and basically nothing else extra. Hopefully they can get something extra, but I'll take a late first for him right now. Like,
and that's fine.
Just clear this up and let us move forward with Scoot playing more than 22 minutes. Because we've had this conversation in many other games this year. This is not just a one-time thing.
And although I do think at times you do need to send a message, and especially if it's bad habits or not getting back on defense or things like that, you maybe limit his minutes or tell him he's not going to play more unless he starts doing something you're trying to specifically tell him to do better. But
that's not what they're doing.
No, I know. For the most part, what I believe with a player like Scoot is you just need to let him get as many game reps on the floor as possible and just let him learn on the floor and work through his mistakes and just keep going at it, keep getting more and more comfortable out there, letting the game slow down. And I don't think you can do that playing him 20 minutes a game or whatever we're doing.
Yep. Agreed. We're going to talk about a couple other players real quick. This stream is brought to you by BetUS. Use the link in the description box below for a 125% sign-up bonus on BetUS. That means a $100 deposit gets you $125 extra dollars on top of it, courtesy of BetUS. We got the Super Bowl coming up in a couple weeks. I wonder if you can bet on the flag football game at the Pro Bowl. That might be a fun little thing to toss down $10 on. But of course, you got NBA basketball right now. Spring training is about to start for MLB, so that season's right around the corner, and you can have fun with any sport you wish to with BetUS, with their variety of betting options, parlays, live betting, etc. They also have casino slots, all sorts of fun stuff. So make sure to use that code. They feature 24-hour payouts, 24/7 customer service. Thank you to them for sponsoring the stream. As I said, later in the stream, we're going to take a look at the Super Bowl matchup on BetUS. Once again, link in the description box below, 125% deposit match. Who do you want to talk about next, Eric?
Let's talk about Jabari Walker, I guess.
Yeah, 3 for 10, 7.6 rebounds, 4 fouls, 3 turnovers, no assists, -10, rough night.
this was a really rough night for him. He just didn't seem comfortable out there. Was hustling. Um, was trying to, he had a really nice offensive rebound and then smoked a layup. But yeah, he had his usual effort. But when you are a role player and you are 3 for 10 from the field, you can't also have 3 turnovers, man. Like with that low usage, you cannot combine bad shooting nights with big turnover nights if you're not a primary ball handler or a secondary ball handler even. And so that's the only thing he needs to do better on nights like tonight. He cannot commit turnovers while also shooting 10 times and only making 3 of them.
Yep. I'm watching back through his turnovers right now. One of them was, that air ball in the first quarter where he tried to go up and under. He just needed to go strong to the backboard there. Second turnover was an offensive foul, which was kind of a strange call.
Mm.
He reached.
I'm not saying they
down
weren't
and kind
necessarily
of clipped. Yeah.
calls. Yeah.
So 2 of them were offensive fouls. The third one was also an offensive foul in the third quarter where he just put his head down and went straight at DeMar DeRozan. So that's where you got to be able to read that defender. I like how he's done a good job this year of taking the ball strong to the rim, and he hasn't been getting blocked anywhere near as often as he did last year because of how he takes the ball to the rim. But at times, when a defender is able to set up in front of him, they're able to draw charges that way, offensive fouls, that's a turnover. And that's where, at times, he's been impressive, where he's been able to, Euro step or step through. But at other times, it seems like it's difficult for him, once he gets going, to move his mass in a different direction, to change direction. A lot of times when there's moments where he's getting downhill and it doesn't even seem like he's going that fast, but it seems like he gets a little too fast for himself and then careens into the defender, is a little bit out of control, can't slow down quick enough, and then can't change direction quick enough. So that's where he needs to continue developing athletically, in my opinion. I don't know if he should lose any weight, because he does use his weight pretty well on the boards and on some of his finishes, but it would be nice for him to be a little bit more agile, be able to change direction a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yep.
what else did you think of his game?
Like I said, I thought he had his usual effort. Just needs to really hunker down and realize that you can't shoot a bunch, and you can't. I guess in his defense, our offense was crap tonight anyway. But you just have to recognize, instead of maybe driving in or shooting, maybe just position yourself for an offensive rebound for someone else, or cut off ball more or something, just to get an easy basket rather than trying to force it.
Yeah. What were your thoughts on DeAndre Ayton tonight?
I thought Ayton was really good, actually. At times, at least. There was a couple. Man, it's almost frustrating, man, because the times where there was a point in the third quarter where he dunked the ball 3 straight times, or maybe it was only 2, where it seemed like 3 straight. And it's just man, Ayton around the hoop is look at him go. He's getting these dump off passes, finishing inside. He had one where he kind of fumbled the ball and didn't really catch it cleanly, and then pump faked and got to the free throw line when I thought it was going to be another dunk in that sequence. But man, he was rolling to the rim hard off of baseline drives or side drives from the top. And I kept seeing, I was like, man, this is the Ayton we need to just camp him around the basket sometimes and don't let him shoot these mid ranges. But then, he gets back to shooting the mid ranges, but then he's hitting them sometimes, and then so you're okay, at least he's making them. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of weird. But I feel like he has. We talked about this last post-game show about him going at Wemby a little bit. I felt like tonight, not necessarily in the post, but he was cutting and being around the basket a little more. Had several lob plays in this game, and so I like watching him a little more when he's doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think part of it is Blazer guards on pick and rolls are starting to look for him around the rim a little bit more, but part of that is you have to trust that your big man is going to be around the rim. And earlier in the season, I thought Ayton was just stopping basically every roll short. Okay, not every roll. I shouldn't over-exaggerate, but there was a lot of rolls he'd stop short and want that mid-range jumper. The Scoot oop that he had to him where Scoot just kind of drove right across the key and like turned and just trusted that Ayton would be around the rim and threw the ball to him was a really kind of impressive play, because it seems like Scoot didn't even see him until he was already in the air and just trusted that Ayton would be able to go get the ball, and Ayton came to the ball. You know, that's a situation where it wouldn't surprise me, given the way Ayton has played at times this year, if Ayton just let the defense grab that and didn't go to the ball. But he's starting to roll a little stronger. He's starting to go up, catch some of these lobs, and this is what we need from him. He needs to play stronger. The fact that he got 4 dunks in this game, I mean, that's rare.
Season high, by the way.
Yeah, easily a season high. I think he's gone month-long stretches without maybe 4 dunks this year. The pick and roll at the end of the second quarter where he just catches the ball on the roll and takes it strong. I mean, how often do we see him shoot a finesse little floater there? You know, how many times do we see him shoot a mid-range jumper there? And that's always been my critique of him, is he settles for finesse shots when he could just simply go dunk the freaking ball. So a play like that, where he's catching a pocket pass off a pick and roll and catching it at the free throw line and actually taking it to the rim, is exactly what I want to see out of him. Exactly what I want to see. Exactly what I criticize him for when he doesn't do it. Because he can, obviously.
Yep. And Eric also says, guys, what if Ayton actually changes after all? See,
go ahead.
I just, like, I've said this multiple times, including last post game, and when he made those comments last week. You can mask it, you can pretend for a couple weeks, but you're always going to revert back. It's like the Ben Simmons thing. Like, you're always going to revert back to that weak mindset when things start to go wrong for you, or you have a bad game, or a bad stretch, or whatever the case may be. I just don't think you can count on it to be like this always, even if he has a 10-game stretch where he's good. It's just, at some point, that mindset of, oh, I have nothing to prove, like, that will come back. And so, like, what's funny is, if last week he didn't answer in that way, if he would have said, yeah, like, I came to this situation, I felt like I had a ton to prove after what happened in Phoenix, and I want to show everyone in the NBA that they were the problem, not me, or whatever. So I'm still very dedicated to showing that, but I still think I'm worth a max, and I still want to prove that I'm a max player. Like, if he just said something like that, I would maybe say, okay, maybe there is hope for him, like, changing his attitude or whatever. But the fact that this far into the season, halfway through the year, he's saying crap like, I have nothing to prove, like, I'm fine, I'm going to stack my money or whatever, like,
Yeah.
Like, crap like that, that ended any chance in my mind of him ever being more than, oh yeah, like, he'll have good games, he'll have bad games, he's fine at times, like, he's not terrible as your center, he's not great as your center, you just got to kind of live with it, and I don't think it's ever going to be more or less than that.
Yeah, Ayton is... Here's the thing with role players in the league, okay? A lot of them will have stretches where they play really well, right? Where they get in a zone for multiple games and they look really good. And then, they regress and are inconsistent. And it's just something like, this has been the case with Nurk in previous years where the stretches where Nurk was really good, it was like, okay, that's gravy, right? You don't expect him to maintain that level of play and be like an all-star. But, it's a good thing when he has really good games. Ayton should be viewed the same way. This is the problem with Ayton being paid a max, is he's paid like somebody that should be averaging 22 and 12, 23 and 12. But this is maybe his best game of the season when he does, right? This should be an average game. Maybe, shoot slightly worse. He shot 75% from the field today, but this should be close to an average game for a max contract player. The problem is he's a role player. So that's always been the critique with the contract. And when it comes to like expecting this, I mean, he's had 3 really good games right now in the past 3 games. But you don't count on that from him. You don't count on that night in, night out. You don't count on that to be the status quo, because that has never been the status quo in his 330 some games in his career, whatever he's at now. So you enjoy it. It's good. I wish he could do this more often. Hopefully he'll do this more often. But it would never become the expectation for me unless he does it over the course of an entire season. And it's clear that his mindset has changed, because you don't make comments like you have nothing left to prove unless you're... It's just not a good comment. Like that kind of put the... It's weird because that kind of put the nail in the coffin for me regarding like having hope for Ayton, and then the 3 games after that he plays really well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd love for him to see him do it night in, night out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just he's played 330 games without doing it night in, night out, so I don't really understand why things would randomly change now.
Yep. And yeah, so Colonel Pancake says maybe he posted that because he's finally ready. He's just socially awkward. Well, the pushback I'll say to that is a lot of times what happens, and this goes, like, you can apply this to any walk of life, whether it's racism or, any kind of political thing or whatever. Like, people tell you who they are by their actions, and their, they say things sometimes. And like Ayton's told us and showed us who he is multiple times. If you want to believe personally that that's not who he is and that he still could change or whatever, go ahead. Like, I'm not saying that you shouldn't believe in him or you have a chance to like be wrong, like you're never going to be right, like you're always going to be wrong. Like, maybe you're right. Like, maybe he is turning a corner and will be different someday, or he'll mature or something. When someone shows you so many times who they are, I'm done trying to twist it into, well, maybe this is going to be positive, or maybe he'll change someday. If he eventually says it to me or proves it to me that he's changed over time, then maybe we can have a different conversation. Yeah. But until then, I am never going to sit here with a player like Ayton and say, well, you know what? This time, I'm sure he really means it, and this time he's gonna go all out and not have any sort of issues with attitude or whatever 5 games from now. Like, now it's just he'll be good for the rest of his career and all this stuff. Like, I'm just not going to believe any of that until I see him have a better mindset on the court and off the court.
100%. Code in chat, who's a Suns fan, says, I told you guys before the season started, Ayton has about 10 great games in him, 15 good games, and trash for the rest. And that's what he's done in Phoenix. That is exactly who he's been in Phoenix. And it's about time he has a good game, Eric. It's about time he has a stretch where he puts some games together, because before these 3 games, he was, quite honestly, terrible. Mm-hmm. He was inefficient, never gets to the line, not a 3-point shooter, not somebody who handles the ball. somebody who's hard to even enter the ball into in the post because he doesn't really seal, doesn't set great screens. Like, literally everywhere you look before these 3 games, he was terrible this season. And that's backed up statistically. He has 3 good games. Cool. This is what we need. This is what the Blazers need.
That's what he should be doing.
But man, it's 3 games compared to the body of work of his entire season before this, you know? And it's funny because there is multiple people in chat, and I don't even necessarily like fully disagree with them or don't think their opinions are valid, but there's people saying like, yeah, once the team starts to figure things out a little bit more, then like Ayton should be able to be more consistently good and figure it out. But it's funny because at the start of the season, with this being the team that had nothing figured out, people were saying that this situation was the perfect situation for Ayton to figure it out. You know what I mean? But now it's, you know, it's different, right? And I'm not saying the same people in chat were saying that at the beginning of the year. I'm just, you know, thinking about how it's a little ironic that he needed a fresh start in a system on a team that wasn't that good so he could be featured more, especially offensively, and then he's not featured more offensively. He regresses offensively. He plays more finesse than ever offensively. And now it's like, okay, he needs a good now he needs a good team in order to be effective. It just doesn't really fully add up to me. But at the end of the day, he needs to be fed his shots, Eric. That's what I've always said about him. Scoot fed him some shots. Ant fed him some shots. He did his job in terms of rolling hard, and he had a couple of plays, especially that play where he caught the ball at the free throw line and drove and dunked the ball. Yeah. Where that's great. But it's an outlier until it isn't. It's an outlier until he builds a larger body of work, at least in Portland, that is much better than the body of work he's built to this point.
And part of the problem with Ayton discourse is people will just look at the 8 for 12 tonight. And now tonight, he did a much better job, like I said, on a lot of his baskets of being around the hoop versus in the middle of the paint or around the free throw line. But if you noticed in the fourth quarter, he started stopping right at the free throw line on all his rolls. Mm-hmm. And what happened then? Every time Anthony drove, the help was right there at the free throw line, and Ant was trying to get by his defender, and he'd pull up for a shot over him, and there was the Vucevic or whoever was guarding Ayton at the time was right there to contest or block his shot because Ayton was right there in the path, basically, of where Anthony was going. And we can say all we want about how good of a mid-range shooter he is or whatever, but if you're constantly going to a spot that is clogging up the lane and not going all the way to the basket, it is a problem, and why we have trouble scoring a lot of times and why players like Anthony have nights like tonight a lot is because there are people in his way. And then also, his screens are still, like, they're okay at times, but they're not good enough for the type of offense we run that's pick and roll and dribble handoff heavy. You have to be able to have the screener clear space for players. And why do you think Dame scored was so efficient and got so much space off his screens the last few years? And it's because we had one of the best screen setters in the league. And so the lack of screens combined with him always stopping in the middle of the paint and leaving his defender able to easily help off, those two things make it very difficult for an offense to run the type of stuff that Chauncey is trying to run right now, because we just don't have the players who can overcome those things right now. Maybe in the future that's not a problem and it looks better and we figure out a way to exploit players more, or teams from the side or from drives baseline or cuts baseline, things like that. But until that happens, I don't know how him hitting 8 shots in a game is really helping us that much, Yeah,
it's funny, your comments about spacing. It's actually better. I would rather have a complete non-shooter for floor spacing purposes than somebody that can hit mid-range shots at the center spot. And that's probably very confusing to people. But
Like Clint Capella.
Yeah, but here's why. Having a center that's around the rim is better for spacing than having a center that stands 15, 16 feet away from the rim on a drive. And the reason is, let's say hypothetically, Ant drives, right? And you got Ayton in the game, and you got 3 guys that are camping around the three-point line. If Ayton's spotting up 15 feet away from the hoop, whatever teammate he has that's closest to him spotting up on the three-point line, that guy's defender can sag and take away the pass to Ayton, but still be close enough to the three-point shooter to get out on the three-point shooter too, which means one defender can guard 2 people, which means Ayton's guy can help on the drive without the Blazers being able to punish it. If you got a guy that stands in the dunker spot opposite block and that guy comes to help, you just dump it off to him and they got a layup or a dunk. Or if
Which,
you go
to be
up,
fair, did happen a couple times in this game.
Yes. But that's why, like, the worst type of spacing in a center is to have a guy that just wants to camp out 15 to 17 feet away from the rim. Yes, he's a better shooter, and it's funny because before the season, people tried to make the argument, like, Ayton can space the floor, like, because he can shoot mid-range. It's not floor spacing. Because guys can sag off three-point shooters to the mid-range area, take that away, and still get out on three-point shooters. If you have a guy standing next to the rim, players have to leave their assignment on the three-point line and cover 20 feet of ground to help on the center, which means that the kick-out pass is a lot more wide open to the three-point shooter. So that's the problem with spacing with Ayton being a mid-range shooter. And that's part of the reason why I want him to roll harder. Part of the reason why I hate when he stops short on pick and rolls. Because it allows his defender to help on drives, and it allows off-ball, especially weak-side guys on the pick and roll, to dig in at his mid-range shot, compared to him just simply continuing to roll and lobbing it over the top, and it's a dunk.
Yeah,
So,
and that's why, I mean, it hasn't always been the case this year, and Reith, of course, had a terrible game shooting tonight, 1 of 7, but that's why at times this year the offense has looked much more free-flowing, or like the spacing has been better with Reith just camping around the three-point line, where you have to come out on him if he's going to shoot, or he's wide open, and it's a pass back out instead of like trying to get it to Ayton like in the middle of the key in traffic. It's much easier to throw that pass back out to the three-point line, and I just think you either need that a stretch big, or like you said, a rim running big. And I completely agree that it's not good to have an in between one.
yeah. That's why I wanted him to stretch out his game to 3. But he just doesn't shoot threes. But I mean, this is just the problems with his game that I don't really see changing a whole lot. I do like that he's starting to dunk the ball more, starting to roll harder, starting to use his body a little bit more. Okay, because that's what I was asking for. Rebounding-wise, the Bulls only have 5 offensive rebounds. 4 of them were from Andre Drummond. Vucevic, I went back and watched all DeAndre Ayton's defensive rebounds. This isn't a critique at all. This isn't a negative. This is just pointing out what I saw. Okay, basically all of them were uncontested. But Vucevic wasn't really crashing. There was a couple where he boxed out, which is something I want to see more from him. He just doesn't like box out with his body, though. He like boxes out with his arm a little bit, but he doesn't use his body.
He had one on a free throw that he was turned the wrong way, like he was trying to front box someone out, and that's a foul.
And then like tipped it away from him.
It should have been a foul, but
yeah. Like I'm not going to critique his rebound in this game because he,
only 5 offensive rebounds for them. Yeah, you can't really.
Well, I'll go back and watch their offensive rebounds. Let's see who didn't box out, Eric.
Well, 4 of them were from Drummond, so.
Yeah. One of them was Drummond. Okay, one of them was Drummond against Ayton, but it wasn't Ayton's fault. You know whose fault it was? Guess who?
Jeremy's.
Good guess. Correct. Jeremy just turns and looks like right under the rim while his guy crashes from the perimeter and tips the ball back to Drummond. So that was one of Drummond's offensive rebounds. It was Dalen Terry, and it was because Grant literally didn't box out. Grant literally just walked to the rim. That's Jeremy Grant for you. So not surprising to see that. Second offensive rebound, the Blazers were... See, this is the problem with switching, too. Or no, was this a zone? This is the problem with switching and a zone, is it's tough to rebound. And when the Blazers... We've talked about this last year. When the Blazers run a zone and they have guards as, like, the bottom guys next to the center in the middle, right? Because they want to put Jeremy Grant up top in the 2-3 zone. The second offensive rebound they gave up in this game was with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. I mean, that's a great job. But it was one of those situations where somebody drives through the zone, so Duop Reith, being the middle guy of the zone, has to step up and help on the drive, and then it leaves Scoot Henderson to try and box out Andre Drummond on the offensive glass.
Yeah, that's tough.
Like, you're not going to get that offensive rebound. And that is solely due to the way they set up their zone. If you had Jeremy Grant down low, then maybe you'd have a chance because Jeremy Grant has some length. But then again, it's Jeremy Grant, so I guess it doesn't really matter because Jeremy Grant's not getting that rebound either. The third one shouldn't have even counted. It was that airball DeRozan 3 at the end of the third quarter that I think it was Julian Phillips caught like under the basket. So yeah, we didn't give up offensive rebounds. And Drummond's a really good offensive rebounder. One of Drummond's was him just getting his own miss back that came right back to him. You know, you never really fault a guy for that. Yeah. Anyway, rebounding was good. Rebounding was rebounding was fine. One of the rebounds they have on here for Drummond was a play where he just got fouled. There was no offensive rebound, so I don't know if they misclassified something or what, but
probably. Yeah,
rebounding was fine. I mean, 8 and 12 rebounds, take it. Didn't give up any offensive rebounds. I don't think any of those were his fault. Take it. Wish he'd use his body a little bit more when he boxes out, but you know, that's just a preference thing. I think it would make him a little better rebounder. Yeah, good game from him today. Just, it's funny because I know that some people that are going to watch this back after the stream, we need to have a name for the people that watch it back after we're live. What should we call them, chat? Not a negative term because we love the people that are in here during live streams and the people that watch it back after. But what's the name for that? I don't know.
I don't have a good...
There's a name on the tip of my tongue that I can't think of.
The later streamers, I don't know.
The late squad. Call them the late squad. Yeah. I know there's a couple people in the late squad that are going to be watching this back being like, Aiden had a great game and you're making it out as a negative because I'm pumping the brakes on expecting this type of game from him. But it's more so this is a good game from him. This should not be the expectation. It's a good game from him. Hopefully that makes sense.
The post gamers.
The post gamers. The rear enders. I don't know about that one.
Well, yeah. For me, it's like, okay, so Aiden's played good 3 games in a row. But it could also be true that you're not confident in him long term to keep this up. Like, those can both be true.
Yes, 100%. Grant lived at the free throw line today, 24 points on 12 shots. When he shoots 1 for 6 from 3 and 5 for 12 from the field, means that he made a lot of free throws. So, 13 for 16 from the line for Grant. 7 rebounds. You know, like, that's the thing is one of those offensive boards was his fault, but I mean, we controlled the defensive glass, so part of it was him. He had 7 boards.
I mean, we know Aiden doesn't shoot threes, but Tori, would you read off the other 4 starters 3-point shooting tonight?
Yeah, total or individually?
Just individually, the 4 of them.
0 for 3, 1 for 6, 1 for 6, 2 for 7.
Yep. That's bad. And then we got Duop off the bench, 1 for 7.
Yeah, we're 6 for 33. Might as well have 8. That's the thing. God, that's the other thing with Aiden, man. It's just like, if you want to just shoot jumpers, if you want to be finesse, start shooting threes then. Like, either or, you know, live at the rim, or live at the 3-point line. And if he doesn't shoot at a good 3-point percentage, at least we would be able to see him like shoot the 3 on volume and actually find out that he's a bad 3-point shooter. But the thing is, if he was shooting the 3 ball with confidence and shooting on volume, I don't even know if he'd be a bad 3-point shooter because we haven't really seen it. And he obviously has touch. He can knock down a mid-range jumper. I think his shot's a little flat from 3-point range. I think that's always been the biggest issue. But he won't even shoot him. It's just, it bothers me.
Kyle Wilson says the Detroit Lions had more drop passes than we had made threes.
That's probably true if you count the interception where it went off the dude's helmet into Ayuk. That play was insane, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. We got lucky for the second straight week, but I'll take some good luck for once after all the bad luck. This is going to be my 6th championship game. Since we're on the topic,
yeah, there's another donor.
Sean Medina 088 with the $2 donation says, "Let's go 49ers. The curse ends February 11th. Let's go, man." Shout out to all my Niner fans in chat. Yeah, this is going to be my sixth championship game. I'm 0-5. Okay, so I want it so bad. You guys don't understand how bad I want the Niners to win a Super Bowl or just any of my teams to win a championship. Maybe you do. I mean, we're all diehard fans here, but like, I want it more than anything in my life right now. So just it would be a relief for one of my teams to win a championship, Eric. For like the entirety of my sports fandom.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, like my spirit during this football game today as a sports fan died. Legitimately, like I legitimately didn't watch the final 5 minutes of the second quarter because I was like so depressed. I just like casually scoreboard watched and looked at our GC. It's the NFC Championship. Like we're down 21-7 and they're threatening a touchdown to go up 28-7. Like I was so sad.
Watching it fall away, yeah.
Dude, my literally, like, I felt my spirit as a sports fan, like, finally dying. Like, after the Huskies were in the national championship and get beat by a Michigan team, here's another Michigan team, this time in the NFL, and it's the Lions running up the score at home. You're on the road, basically at home for the Niners. And I thought we were going to lose, 42-10. So, in that third quarter, I got reborn as a sports fan in a way. That comeback, like, man, it was something. So, it kind of, this was probably the best I felt after a win. And it's kind of like, okay, well, I think this is kind of what a championship feels like. I know we didn't actually get it, but man.
Well, what a way for your curse to be ended if that's how it is.
Oh, man. Like, just please get it off my shoulders. Because Gonzaga's not going to break it. The Mariners are too cheap to break it. And the Blazers are too incompetent to break it. And the Huskies can't even keep their coach or any single member on their offensive squad.
Yeah.
So, they ain't going to break it either. And I'm not a big enough Timbers fan for them to really count. But even they lost a championship game since I started paying attention to them. So,
another donation about football.
shout out to Colonel Pancakes, $5 donation. Says, I'll admit I was going for the Lions, but I'm sick of the Taylor Swift cameos. Go Niners. Appreciate you, man. I heard, Shannon Sharp's and Chad Johnson's, Chad Ochocinco's YouTube channel, like, stream that they have.
Yeah.
I was listening to that after the game, and they started arguing about Taylor Swift. It was actually hilarious. That's actually a really good, like, podcast live stream. They started arguing, and the argument was, like, basically Shannon Sharp was talking about how Taylor Swift was really good business for the NFL. There's a reason why they're showing her so much, like, and there's marketing research done that said that Taylor Swift essentially brought in like $320 or $350 million for the league just by her showing up to games.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And there is the argument, could any other person have that sort of impact for the NFL by, like, hypothetically dating a player? And Chad Johnson said Beyonce. if Beyonce wasn't with Jay-Z. And it was a fascinating debate. A fascinating debate. Could Beyonce have the same level of impact on the NFL by dating a player as Taylor Swift? I don't know. How much of it is that Taylor Swift's dating Travis Kelce, of all people, who has a popular podcast, Chiefs player? I don't know. But
They're actually good.
Yeah. And basically they just argued. Shannon Sharp said no. Chad Johnson said yes. But then when you look at like box office for the movies for their latest concert tours, it was like Taylor Swift sold like 7 times the box office tickets as Beyonce. Love Beyonce, but don't think she would have the same impact. Like Taylor Swift is...
I think she has a big impact.
She has a big impact, but Taylor Swift is... The Swifties, man. They're different. She starts selling tickets for tours and the ticket sites completely break. The Swifties are a different crowd, man.
So my mom, who she'll watch like football and stuff, like she's cool. So I had overnight date night with my wife last night. Good times. Apparently Cole Ray saw me at Dave & Buster's, but didn't say hi. Whatever. Should have said hi, Cole. But
he's probably intimidated by your height.
Maybe. He said he didn't want to bug me because it looked like I was on a date or something. But anyways, yeah. So I go to pick up my kids from my mom's house because they spent the night over there last night, and first thing out of my mom's mouth, oh my gosh, Taylor Swift has curled hair today. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why would I care about that? But like all she cared about was like seeing Taylor Swift at this game, and now she's like a Chiefs fan, and like
your mom is a Chiefs fan.
Like I don't think she's like a full-on Chiefs fan, but
I didn't know your mom was a Swiftie.
She's not. She's kind of like was a casual Swiftie, but now that Taylor's like dating Travis Kelce, I guess she's like a full-on Swiftie or something. Like I don't know.
We need your mom in chat right now.
I haven't seen her in chat tonight, so I don't know where she is. But I think she was so disgusted by this Blazer game she did. But yeah, that's like, and so she kept talking about Taylor and stuff, and I'm like, Mom, I want to watch the game. Like, I don't care about Taylor. Like, I'm not one of those people who like don't show her. That's stupid. Like, I think it's really smart. And
it's like 5 seconds of TV time. Who cares, man? Like all these grown men that go on Twitter crying about Taylor Swift having 5 seconds of TV time, like 5-second clips a few times a game. Mm-hmm. It's just so unserious, bro.
Oh, there's my mom.
It's embarrassing the way grown men will go on Twitter and cry about Taylor Swift being on their TVs for 5 seconds. Yeah. It's embarrassing. I understand that it's, like, I've even said, like, it's over the top. It's a little annoying. End of the day, it's nothing. Like, it's literally nothing for me, for you. But it's also everything to a bunch of other people that now are going to watch the Super Bowl that maybe wouldn't have watched the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the Super Bowl is probably going to break records now.
Yeah, they're going to go crazy. Yeah.
Got Usher at halftime, which is a pretty good headliner, and then you got Taylor Swift, man. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. It's gonna piss me off if she's celebrating a lot in the Super Bowl.
Hopefully she's crying at the end of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no offense to Taylor, but I hope she's crying. Yeah.
And not tears of happiness either. Mm-hmm. Not tears of yeah. Dang, I shouldn't have said that, man. We're gonna have a whole cult after us now. Please don't send us to any Swifties, chat. Okay.
No, we're saying that we're fine with the press she's getting, but yeah.
Yeah, but we just said we wanted her to cry, so we might be screwed.
My mom says yes. I started watching football because of Taylor and Travis, and I'm a Swiftie. That's not true, Mom. You used to watch football.
I respect that she's standing on business, Eric.
I saw this tweet before we came on. It's like in her first season in the NFL, Taylor Swift made the Super Bowl. She's elite.
Yeah, facts for real. Just only dated the right player on the right team. But I'm a Taylor Swift hater the next 2 weeks. Somebody said, where was it? John Mola said, no Swifties watch you. Actually, that's not true. Actually, like, when people subscribe, if they publicly subscribe, we can see, like, the channels that are subscribed to us that have the most subscribers. And there's actually one that has a lot of subscribers, so I, like, clicked on the channel. Found out they were a Swiftie. Because follow them on Twitter, too. So, I know of one Swiftie that watches us, okay? Mm-hmm. I apologize. I don't
think we say anything bad. We're just saying
they're a cult, Eric. They're a cult. If
Swifties, we are 49ers fans. She is going to be rooting for the Chiefs. We have no problem with Taylor Swift. We just do not want her to win because that means our team lost. I don't think that's controversial.
See, that's logical.
Yeah.
That's logical. That's the problem. That's the problem.
I just don't understand why people are just like, oh my God, it's ruining football. Show it on the screen. What does it matter?
Oh, man. What if she was dating an NBA player?
I don't know, because that's... I mean, there's lots of games that they show celebrities sitting in the crowd. Like, it's not that much less than they show Taylor, you know?
Yeah, but, like, you know, the impact she's had. She's a phenomenon. Phenomena? I don't know. So I don't know. Would it have the same impact? Probably not. Chat poll: who on the Blazers would you want Taylor Swift to date? We'll do Simons. We'll do Grant. Sure. We'll do Scoot. Although Scoot's a little young.
Her and Travis are gonna get married. That's not even gonna be an option.
I figured out who can fix Ayton. And other. There's your chat.
She wouldn't be with someone that has that low of like motivation in life, you know?
Well, maybe the moment she walks in, he all of a sudden becomes motivated. I don't know. Maybe she inspires him, and maybe he becomes the center that he was always destined to be.
I think Taylor's older than anyone on the Blazers.
How old is she?
Isn't she in her like early 30s?
Like 33?
She's like 32?
34.
Okay, 34. Yeah, so she is older than any Blazer, right?
Oh yeah, Travis Kelce's pretty old too, huh? Travis Kelce age.
He's 34 too.
He's also 34.
Yeah. And yeah.
Too bad we don't have any 34-year-olds on the team for Taylor Swift to date. But
as far as money goes, I don't think she is out there gold digging for money.
No. Travis made her a friendship bracelet, and somehow it worked. I don't know if any of you should try that yourselves, but worked for Travis Kelce.
Go Niners.
Go Niners. Rip City says, I'm just realizing we really just went on a whole conversation about Taylor Swift. Yeah, man. Blazers are 20 games below 500. When they reach 20 games below 500, we start to take streams off the rails. Only way to do it. 38% say other. 28% say Grant. Grant's fashion could probably impress her. Grant's fashion impresses everyone. So, anyone else on this team, the Blazers that is, that you want to speak on?
Not really. Bench was rough.
Bible had 3 turnovers.
They didn't really play the bench that much, but
yeah.
I mean, 32 minutes for Bible, but
Kamara barely plays, Eric. 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Is he falling out of the rotation? Like,
I don't know, but this is exactly why I want to trade all the bets so we don't have
Mm-hmm.
this issue anymore, man.
Yeah, so we're not playing basically a 8-man rotation. Our 8th man is only playing 11 minutes. Our 9th man is only playing 3 minutes. Our 7th man is Scoot, only playing 22 minutes, which isn't enough. Like, just the minutes breakdown is just strange, bro. And that's why the people saying Chauncey's not coaching to win. Yeah, he is. He wouldn't be playing Malcolm Brogdon 38 minutes and Scoot 22 minutes. The thing is that probably didn't even help us have a better chance of winning today. That's always when it drives me crazy, is when Malcolm Brogdon isn't having a good game and playing him more doesn't even seem to really contribute to anything, because at that point, then I'm valuing development over everything. I'm already valuing development over wins and losses in the first place. But when the veteran you're playing ahead of the young guy is not contributing to wins, he should not be playing 38 minutes. This was not his night. He was questionable going into tonight. So, don't understand it at all. But, we'll see, man. I mean, we're going to have our answers in a week and a half. Today is Sunday. Trade deadline is before the Super Bowl, actually. So, it's February 8th. We are right around the corner.
And Thursday, February 8th, join us around 8 or 9 a.m. or so. We'll be live through the trade deadline and a little bit after the trade deadline to make sure there's no trades at the last minute and stuff. We'll break down every trade live as it happens, and we'll go in depth, of course, on any Blazer trades.
Yep.
And one thing is, like, when you are that close to the trade deadline, why are you overplaying a guy that if he gets hurt, it could ruin your complete plan at the trade deadline? And you mentioned it earlier. It's got me worried, Tori, that they're not even thinking about that, you know?
Yeah.
And if they're not thinking about it, either they're not trading him or they're not concerned about him getting hurt or at all, like, which is mind-boggling to me. You know?
Even if they were leaning towards keeping him, they should not feel so strongly that they don't shop him at all. Okay? They should not feel so strongly that they don't listen to offers. And if they're going to listen to any offers, even if they don't actually want to trade him, it still doesn't make sense to play him 38 minutes. We're 13-33.
Mm-hmm.
We are 20 games below 500. We would have to finish the season with a 28-8 record just to get to 500. Okay? So, if there's any chance you trade the guy, you should probably try and limit his minutes a little bit. You're losing anyway. You literally just lost to the Spurs. You just lost at home, while healthy, to the Bulls. The team sucks. The team sucks. They had a good 5-game stretch where they went 3-2. It doesn't mean this team doesn't suck. Yeah. Yeah. A good 5-game stretch where they go 3-2, but like should have went 4-1, and now we're going to run our veterans into the ground and want to keep them. Hopefully not.
Hey, Tori, you might not have like an answer right away, but you should probably think about this. Who's like a scrub player that you do not want on the Portland Trail Blazers?
Oh, God.
Who's this year's Kevin Knox / Cam Reddish?
Oh, man.
That you can bring up now, and then we're going to be crying when we trade for that person.
I don't know, dude. Like, we fulfilled a lot of the guys that I would list for this. In the past, I would have listed Mario Hezonja. I would have listed Cam Reddish. I would have listed Kevin Knox. Now, Chad, do you have any recommendations? If any stand out to me, I will. I mean, Ben Simmons,
and I'm not talking about
like,
Well, someone like that might be different because he has a year left on his contract after this one. But like Kyle Lowry, Evan Fournier, Spencer Dinwiddie, like if we trade for one of those guys, they're all
Spencer Dinwiddie I've never liked.
Yeah, but they're all expiring contracts. We're not trading for them to like keep them, so it wouldn't be that bad.
So it has to be a young player that hasn't really
okay.
Out.
Okay, JJ Benson's Miles Bridges. Yes. Both of us are
reasons,
we're going off on this team if they trade for him. But yeah, like that's different than what I'm asking about.
Do you want me to hear do you want to hear me call Joe Cronin a POS uncensored on stream? Well, if he picks up Miles Bridges, I'll be there screaming it on a stream. I do not want that dude on our team. And luckily, we don't have the Suns fan base, because the Suns fan base, so many of them want Miles Bridges, and we'll make jokes about how they need some physicality, and it's just disgusting stuff. Like, you don't make jokes about that type of crap. But, so that's where I'm actually proud of our community, because our community is filled with a lot of pretty normal people that understand that you don't make jokes about domestic violence, and that Miles Bridges shouldn't be in the league. So props to the community.
And if we get someone, I don't know, like Lonzo Ball or something, and we get like compensated for taking him, then I don't think that's what I'm talking about either. It's like got to be someone like for example, we purposely chose Kevin Knox over like Sadiq Bey or Wiseman or whatever's contracts last year, those kind of things.
You want to know one guy that kind of fits it, but actually he's like good enough where like it wouldn't actually be that bad.
Who?
Isaac Okoro. Just in terms of a guy
really?
I've always, well, just in terms of a guy I've always been below consensus on, but like he's not bad. He just is okay. He's I'm not gonna say it. I was gonna say a word that starts with an M.
People in chat are saying Johnny Davis.
I mean, he's
if you get him for nothing, then like I don't know.
Yeah, then I'm fine with that. There really isn't anyone, Eric, that I can think of. I don't know. There hasn't been many guys.
Well, you can ponder it for a couple.
You know what it is? You know what it is? The like fourth year, 5-year players that don't pan out, teams are giving up on them quicker, it feels like.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're getting these new young guys, and they're quicker.
What if we get Killian Hayes?
Oh, God. I mean, see, but, like, I like Killian Hayes.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why he's so ass. He's ass, but, yeah, no, I would not be happy at all. Oh, man. I got to figure it out, man, yeah. Because...
Oh, Zach LaVine would be...
I mean, Jalen Green would be pretty bad.
Zach LaVine would not make sense, and I'd be so mad if we like gave up assets for him.
Let me, you know how I'm going to do it? 2020 NBA draft, because those are the players that are about to be restricted free agents, correct?
Yeah, like Cam Reddishes and...
Yeah. Yeah, so...
We're looking at that real quick. JPO had a $2 donation. You guys go into Dame's return game after all. I will be going on Wednesday. Tori is unsure yet.
I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Hopefully. Yeah, there's really nobody that fits the bill. Like, because they have to be a top draft pick bust. And,
yeah. Yeah, Jerry, that's not happening. It says Bulls fan here. I'd love if you guys could take away the protections on the pick you owe us. Why would we do that?
Yeah. I would love for you to give us our pick back. More than anything.
Let's do Tankathon, man. I want to hear your tidbits. Although I do know one of them.
What'd you say?
I do think I know one of them.
You definitely know one guy I'm gonna talk about.
Yeah.
There's a couple others that I want to talk about. You know who isn't a bad name for this? Jackson Hayes.
Okay.
Who's he even playing for right now?
The Lakers.
Yeah. God, the Lakers? We're going to trade Brogdon for Jackson Hayes. And then Jackson Hayes is going to be our backup center in front of Duop Reith. And that's going to piss me off because Reith is better.
Truly Spencer had a member for 15 months message. Do you see Dame ignoring his return and tribute? No, I don't see that at all.
No way.
Yeah, I think he's cool with everyone except for Joe.
Yeah. But you know what it's going to be? He's going to, like, dap up Joe before the game. They're going to be all cool, and people are going to be like, see, told you. It's like, okay, people can move on and forgive.
Carter Dick, member 50-month message. When do we get the Kevin Knox emoji that you promised?
When did I... What?
I thought you promised that like a month ago.
I have zero recollection of ever promising a Kevin Knox emoji. I know Kevin Knox gets brought up because AJ Poseidon is in chat. He's obsessed with Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
It's strange. It actually is kind of frightening how obsessed AJ Poseidon is with Kevin Knox. But
Yeah.
I think it was something to do with him where he was like begging for a Kevin Knox emoji that he could literally spam all stream. But he said, let's go. This is my NBA Finals. Yeah, see? I don't remember, though. If somebody can clip it, and if I did, then I guess I'll do it. I'll just use his ESPN headshot, but I don't know why I would offer to make a Kevin Knox emoji.
Fortnite jacket?
Yeah.
All right, let's do Tankathon, man.
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked with Kevin Knox of all people right now. Give me 10 seconds to load it up. Okay. All right. So let's capture Soul Strange.
AJ Dub is calling us getting the third pick. Smog with a $20
Let's go,
donation.
my guy Smog.
Bang bang Niner gang, let's go.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for the $20 dono. Good vibes over here.
There was a lot of people out last night wearing Niner gear.
Let's go, man. I've decided I'm getting a Brock Purdy jersey before the Super Bowl.
Nice.
Okay. I got to, man. I got to. That's my guy. I got to get a Brock Purdy jersey.
I thought you weren't sure about him.
What do you mean? I've been hyping him up for the majority of the season.
Yeah, but you've had your times where you've been.
I mean, yeah, Mr. Irrelevant as a rookie where I'm like, I don't know.
No, this year.
When?
When he's had bad games, you were like,
I mean, I get frustrated.
not him, yeah.
Like, that's more out of frustration. That's like, he only had like 2 bad games, though. Like, last game, I was saying people were overreacting like he struggles in the rain. Is what we found out, right? He struggles in the rain. The hate on him is ridiculous. It's insane. He's made an NFC Championship game and a Super Bowl. He got knocked out of the NFC Championship game early last year, okay? As a second-year player, that was the last pick in the draft, bro. Like, what are we doing acting like he ain't good?
Yeah.
Smog, do you remember me being down? Like, I think I've been pretty high on Purdy all season long, man.
Maybe it was just game frustration.
Yeah, I mean, yes, like he'll make a bad throw, and I'll be like, "What the hell?" Purdy's struggling, but for the most part, he's freaking good. So, I'm getting a Purdy jersey, and I'm gonna rock it on stream for all the Niners haters.
Yeah.
And if they got a problem with it, too bad. Anyway, I will finally reward your begging, Eric, for Tankathon. We are 5th and 10th. 42% chance top 4. 10.5% chance number 1 overall pick. You guys know the percentages because this is where we were last year. Okay, we are 2 games away from Charlotte. 3 games away from Toronto. Nice little cushion here. This might not change for the rest of the season, Eric.
Maybe.
The one pick to watch right now is this Golden State pick. They're a game worse than Houston, a game and a half better than Atlanta. That Lakers clutch win over them was nice the other night for that pick. Good job, LA. The only time I'll ever say good job, LA in my life. Appreciate it. And yeah, this is where we stand. Shout out to KONZN, who became an all-star level member. What's up, man? Thank you for joining the Uprise cult. The second strongest cult in the world, only behind the Swifty cult. All right, Eric, let's simulate this thing. Scroll from the bottom like we normally do. And at 14 is the LA Lakers. So whoever was 14th moved up.
That's OKC via Utah.
Is that pick unprotected?
No, I think it is protected. So, yeah.
Already absolute chaos. I didn't even scroll down far enough.
Yeah, someone posted something earlier with like us falling to 9, and
dude,
like we ended up with like 9 and 12 or something. That's what it's gonna.
Dude, I mean, we could end up with 9 and no Golden State pick if they are one of the teams that moves up below us. If we, dude, Eric, you know how upsetting that would be if after this season, right?
Yeah.
Being this bad, if we have like 5 and 10 going into lottery day, and we only end up with 9, that would be so upsetting. That would be awful.
It's top 10, so they
keep
Utah keeps it, which would be really. They get rewarded for not taking. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Let's see if Portland moved up at all. At 13, Chicago. At 12, Houston to OKC. At 11, Golden State to Portland. We keep the Golden State pick. At 10, Atlanta. At 9, Brooklyn to Houston. At 8 is Memphis. At 7 is your Portland Trailblazers. 7-11. Brutal. We have had awful luck this year.
Yeah.
Awful luck. I don't understand. Does it mean we're going to have awful luck on lottery night? I mean, that just means we got to lose every game the rest of the year, I guess, because it's not cutting it. At 6, we got San Antonio moving down 3 spots. And at 5, you got Washington, which means Detroit's top 4 with Charlotte, Utah, and Detroit. I think I said Detroit first. I don't remember. At 4 is Utah, moving up 10 spots. At 3 is Charlotte. At 2 is Detroit. And at 1 is Toronto. That's a team that moved up. Toronto gets the number 1 pick. And they get to add probably Alex Sarr with Scotty Barnes, which is intriguing.
Yeah, Sarr came back a couple games ago. Looked really nice.
Yeah. Yep. Brutal. Brutal. All right. Let's look at the mock draft. Let's simulate the mock draft. Okay, we moved down 2 spots again. Let's say right now, Eric. Let's just make this tough on you, okay? Because I love asking you the tough questions. Let's say we're picking 7th, and the first 6 off the board are Sarr, Ricochet, Holland, Topic, Salon, and Cody Williams. Who are you taking at 7?
Oh, wait. So you didn't say Dillingham?
Nope.
Get killed in chat for taking Dillingham.
Chat, who would you take, chat? Chat can answer too.
All right, just to make sure you said Sarr, Topic, Ricochet, Salon, Cody Williams, and
Holland.
Okay. Could I trade the pick?
Nope. No trades out there. Nobody ever wants to trade for any of our draft picks ever.
Yeah. Could I take Chomsky?
Is that? I mean, let's say Chomsky went back, didn't enter the draft. Okay, we're just gonna make this as hard as possible on you. Let's say Chomsky didn't enter the draft. Who are you taking?
Give me Dillingham.
Dillingham is 7.
Yeah. Yep, I'm the second best player.
I would also go Dillingham. And chat can kill us all they want. I was the one saying before the season that in that sort of situation, without there being a clear forward to take on the board, you just got to take best player available. And then try and figure it out.
I'm not reaching for, like, Klingon or whatever. That's stupid, I think.
Yeah, and it's like Dillingham, out of those players that would be left, is a clear tier above for me in terms of upside and floor. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's like, I've been thinking about it this way. What if we have the next Dame? What if Dillingham, hypothetically, is the next Dame? He has a lot of scoring upside. He might be a lethal scorer in the league. Okay? You don't pass on the next Dame for the next Harrison Barnes because you have Scoot. Right?
Yeah.
So that's where it gets tough. You can take a forward at 10 or 11 with the Golden State pick.
Well, if like Dillingham's like so good too, then that's their out to maybe trade Scoot if they don't think Scoot's like the answer long term.
Yeah.
Or, trade Anthony or whatever.
Yeah. Or you got that 3-guard lineup. You play Sharp at small forward like they wanted to do with Brogdon. Instead, that's the thing. Instead of Brogdon, at least you'd have a young guard with a bunch of upside.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not clean. Let me pull up chat, see what chat's saying. Noah says he really likes Rob. I really like Rob as well. He is top 3 on my board right now. See, if we went Rob at 7, that would probably change my calculation on who to go with at 10 compared to who I would think about going with if we got Salon at 7.
Maybe.
Also, the player that I really like, you already know who I'm talking about. Offensively, I think is a great fit for the Blazers. I think he has the size to play the 3, but he has to have size to play the 3. And then defensively, there's question marks. But offensively, I think he's going to be a really good NBA player. Eric, you want to say the name for me?
Dalton Connect.
I've been on board the Dalton Connect train since, 2 months ago. Quietly. Maybe a month and a half ago. He's intrigued me before this latest stretch. And it always happens where, Eric really likes a guy. And then he'll be, projected 20th or 23rd, right? And then all of a sudden he'll rocket up boards and be a lottery pick or a top 10 pick. Me and Eric both really liked Lively when he was a projected late first-round pick last year. And then he rocketed up boards and went in the lottery and didn't fall to us with the 23rd pick, which we were just begging for him to fall to that pick when we traded Josh Hart. And look at Lively this year. He's been really, really good. So there's always prospects where I feel like we are a little bit ahead of the curve. And I feel like Connect was one of those guys because he has gone on a 7-game tear here where...
Oh, man, he's been unstoppable.
This is against SEC competition, too. This isn't in some minor conference. 10 for 18, 28 points. 4 for 9 from 3. Okay, next game, 36 points. 12 for 20, 5 for 8 from 3. Next game, 39 points, 13 for 23, 4 for 6 from 3. Okay, then he has a little bit of an off game against Alabama, 8 for 21 for 6 from 3, but gets the line 8 times, 8 for 8, right? 25 points. Next game against Vanderbilt, 13 for 21, 3 for 7 from 3, 32 points. And he's listed at 6'6", and he's a solid athlete. I don't see how he's not a really good offensive player in the league, Eric.
Yeah, possibly.
His finishing is super impressive with both hands. Some of the finishes he has with his offhand are insane. Where he hangs and has a defender on his shoulder at full speed and flicks it up over the shot blocker off the backboard. Some of his finishes just are insane to me. Mid-range shooter, 3-point shooter. He's a lethal 3-level scorer at 6'6" with some athleticism. And he can handle the ball a little bit. He's not really too much of a playmaker for others, but also he doesn't have a ton of help there at Tennessee. He carries that team. They're a top 10 team right now, basically because of him. So feel for the game. He seems to have a really good feel for the game. I wouldn't put it past him to develop into a little bit more of a playmaker for others. Right now, I have him 7th on my big board.
I respect it. I can't put him that high, but yeah, that is clearly a first-round pick.
Yeah, where do you have him?
I think I have him somewhere in the mid-20s.
Has this latest stretch from him not swayed you?
I mean, it swayed me. I mean, part of it is like I think he's been okay on defense, but Tennessee has like a really good defensive team around him that I think can mask that. Um, but yeah, I mean, obviously with the ball and scoring wise, I think he's an NBA player. I don't know how much more he's doing other than scoring in the NBA.
I
Are you
mean,
muted?
no, I mean, I'm just scoring's the most important thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I have a gut feeling that next year he's going to be this year's Jaime Hawkes.
Yeah.
Like,
Or Austin Reeves
yeah, I mean, I think Austin Reeves is a little different. Like Austin Reeves, I liked a little bit more because he was shifty. Connect, I think, is just a more pure scorer.
So Multigun is another 23-year-old though. Isn't there a swing for the fences prospect at 7? Tori's not saying for us to take him at 7 necessarily. He's saying he has him on his big board at 7.
Yes. How old is Jaime Hawkes? Okay, like he's come in and looked really good immediately. Sometimes these players that spend a lot of time in college, they're going to be better from day one and be like a solid to good starter day one with the upside to grow into more still because, yeah, he's 23 on draft night, but I just don't see how he doesn't score 15 a game at the NBA level. The way he shoots the ball, off movement, off the dribble, like at 6'6", the way he finishes in the paint, he has, I think, just good enough change of pace and ball handling ability to be able to get a shot off. At the very least, he's a lethal off-ball threat. I see him coming in and definitely being a top 10 rookie next year.
Yeah. Careful, let's look at pods too.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, he will at least, in my opinion, have, like, a pods role like Pods has with the Warriors.
Yeah.
So, if he falls into, like, if I was a winning team that needed a little bit of an offensive punch in this range, especially on a wing spot, like, I'm taking him in a heartbeat. You know what? He would actually be pretty damn good for the Heat. If the Heat take him, then you know. Then you know. Because they tend to identify guys pretty well. I watched a little bit of footage on Adama Ball, and he intrigues me, especially given Santa Clara's developing track record with Pods and with Jalen Williams the last couple of years. Like, those are two guys that were NBA ready from the jump.
Yeah.
And two guys that probably should have went a little bit higher. And Adama Ball, he's listed as 6'7". I don't think he's quite 6'7". I think he's maybe closer to 6'5", but he's intriguing from a standpoint of can hit the three, can play make, can handle the ball a little bit, has size.
Yeah.
So I think he's a guy that could definitely end up in the first round that, like, I don't even see on some boards. Like, I don't even see him on Take-a-thon. Have you watched him at all, Eric?
Yeah, I watched a little bit lately, just like highlights and stuff. But yeah, it's weird because man, he did not look like an NBA player at Arizona. Barely played at all, actually. Mm-hmm. And then he goes there and just blossoms. I don't know. I'd be a little worried about the smaller sample size of one season. And, he's he like 21?
He is. I'm looking it up.
But, I mean, he is pretty intriguing. And sometimes it's good to take risks on that, and that's probably why he wouldn't be.
He's 20.
Oh, he's only 20.
He's in his third college season. He turned 20 in December.
Oh, okay, so he just turned 20. All right.
Yeah.
That's a year younger than I thought he'd be.
So that could explain why he barely played at Arizona, because he was very, very young, and Arizona has been a good team with depth and pros.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
So he's definitely intriguing to me just because anybody with shot making ability at like 6'5" to 6'7", with a little bit of playmaking and ball handling ability on top of that is always intriguing to me. Because that's the type of stuff that pops. So that's a guy that I need to see more of, but that's a guy that's intriguing to me as maybe a guy that is there in the second round.
Yeah.
And if he's big enough to play the 3, tough to pass up on if he's there. Eric, I'm starting to really like this draft. You said this a while ago, but I'm starting to really agree with you. I'm starting to really like 10 to 40 in this draft.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't like 7.
Yeah.
But I like everything else. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at 7, if Dillingham's there, you just look for a team that like really wants that point guard and values him like the Blazers value him. Or like, okay, not the Blazers value him. Although the Blazers probably really would value him because he's a guard, but values him like we value him. Like, if you can get back 4 first-round picks, I would rather do that and wait on a couple different guys who I have similarly ranked at 10. Then take one of those guys at 7 and then take another one of those guys at 10.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on anyone new?
Not really. I watched a little bit yesterday, but didn't really alter much of my opinions. Missy had a good game.
Yeah, he's intriguing. I get serious bust vibes from Topic.
Yeah.
Like,
But he's out right now.
I know, but just watching back some of the film, very questionable jump shot. Not like a great athlete at the NBA level for a guard by any means, and relies a lot on, like, he's deceptive and has good footwork and changes pace well enough to set up his straight line drives, but he's pretty much just like a straight line driver. I don't know, man.
He has the size well, though, and that's always been something that's translatable.
Yeah. If you can shoot.
Yeah. I don't think his form's that bad.
I don't like his form. I don't like the way he shoots, dude.
It is just speed it up a little bit.
His shot's flat.
He doesn't follow through either.
Yeah, he like pops his elbow so far back and it's flat and it's strange.
I think it's easy to fix the things he needs to fix.
He's shooting good from the free throw line. Like, if he can become a pure 3-point shooter, sure. But I don't know if he's going to be able to shoot NBA threes because his shot's flat. He's going to have to seriously rework his form, in my opinion, to get more arc.
Yeah.
And to follow through a little better. So that's where I get the bust vibes. He could end up being a really good player, but I think there is some serious downside with him that it's hard to put him outside of like 7th, 8th range in this year's draft, but the number 1 pick love I do not get.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm just an average team, I'd probably rather have Ricochet.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I'd probably rather just take a chance on Ron Holland. It's funny because I had him like 4th on my big board that I tweeted, and people were like, "You're talking about how you hated him." Yeah, like what I watched from him, the one G League Ignite game that I went to, I hated. But then next day, especially a couple days later, I started thinking about it like, okay, I can't overreact to one bad game that was his worst game in like an 8-9 game stretch, right? And then because the next game against the Remix, 12 for 24 for 6 from 3. If he can knock down threes, he's going to be an impressive NBA player. But that's the question mark. And I'm trying to figure out how much I want to fade Ignite guys right now, Eric.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know either.
Are you fading Ignite guys right now?
I'm not necessarily fading them, but I don't have any trust in them.
Yeah.
Like I said, Holland and Matas are pretty far down on my board compared to most people, and yeah.
Matos could fall out of the lottery, in my opinion.
Maybe.
It's funny because I saw a Locked On Big Board podcast episode where it was like, could Matos still go number one? I
mean, all I guess takes one person to fall in love with him, but
what does he do exceptionally well at the NBA level? Nothing.
Dude, the stuff I've seen of Sarr since he's come back, I don't understand how people aren't just salivating over a 7-footer that is that fluid moving up and down the court.
I think they're starting to.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to. I'm starting to see like him be the number one guy everywhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's clear to me. He's clearly and easily the number one pick, and that's not going to change.
Yeah.
Even if his offense has some questions, but the fact that he has offensive potential is great because he should be a great defensive player.
He can handle the ball at 7'1". Like, those kind of guys don't not pan out usually, you know?
Mm-hmm. At the very least, he's Jaren Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yep.
But he could be much better. So you take a chance on that. And here's the thing. God, I want him. They're going to have to deal with Chet and Wemby.
Yep.
They're going to need somebody like Alex Sarr. Mm-hmm. Somebody with like legitimate length and agility and mobility. And if they don't get Sarr in this draft, they got to try and figure out a way to get that guy in future drafts.
Yeah. Agreed.
The thing is how often are the Chets, Wembys, and Alex Sarrs, like, I don't think Alex Sarr is as good of a prospect as either of those guys, but,
right, for
you know,
sure.
how often, that's 3 straight years a guy like this has been in the draft. How often are we going to get a guy like that? Is there a guy like that in next year's draft? I'm not sure. But as you get more and more of these guys into the league, I think more and more teams will start to value this type of guy more and more, where you have to move up into the top 2 or 3 picks to get a guy like this. This is part of the reason why I'm totally okay with embracing being bad for 2 to 3 years, accumulating assets, and then trying to draft at the top of the draft.
Yep.
Because there's really no other way to get a guy like that.
Yep.
Because it's a new breed of big man.
Yep.
So. I mean, how tall is Chomchi?
They say 6'11". He might be a little shorter than that, but yeah. I think he's more like power forward than a center, but
I forgot I was screen sharing. Oh wait, no. Okay. It was still on Takeathon. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. But Salon, it's gonna be interesting to see the measurements for all these guys, man. Especially the international guys compared to some of the college guys, Ignite guys, see which setting is inflating draft heights the most.
see, Sarr looks legit. I don't know if he's 7'1", but he looks legit 7 foot.
Yeah.
And Salon looks legit like 6'8".
I think Salon's taller than 6'8".
Yeah, I'm just saying he's at least 6'8", so he's at least forward size.
I think he's legitimately at least 6'9". I've seen him listed as 6'9" and 6'10". I think it's a legitimate 6'9".
Yeah. I mean, hopefully that's even better. But, yeah. But, like, a lot of the prospects, I don't believe they're like, I stood right next to Bronny and Collier, and there's no way either of those guys are over, like, 6'2".
Oh, yeah, what's Bronny listed as?
I think they're both. Well, Collier's listed at like 6'5", some places, and Bronny's like 6'3", 6'4". Yeah.
Bronny's not. Bronny's 6'2". Bronny, man. Bronny needs to show me something offensively, man. I love all the other things he does, but he just doesn't do anything offensively in too many games. I don't know.
No, it says Rob is listed at 6'3". I think that's legit. I think he's like Dame size, so he'll be listed at 6'3", but he's really like 6'1".
Yeah. Yep. I don't think Bronny would get drafted this year if he wasn't Bronny. He might not get drafted this year because they might not take into account that he is Bronny, NBA teams, but if you can maybe get LeBron, then I see a team taking a chance in the second round. But if he is just some other guy, I don't think he's getting drafted. That's just my opinion. He does other things well, but normally guys that have basically no offensive impact in a bunch of different games for a team that hasn't been that good don't get drafted. Unless they're like have freakish tools. So anyway. That works up Tankathon, I guess?
Yep.
Alrighty.
Maybe the stream.
Yeah. We still got 1 second. Chat, if you have any questions, let us know. We'll end off this stream with a couple of questions.
Did you want to do the Super Bowl thing too?
Yes. I'm working on it right now.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Trader Box says, is it possible to draft 2 centers? Yeah, I definitely think that's possible. See, this is why we had the conversation earlier, why Tori asked me the question about the 7th pick, if the best prospects on the board are guards. Because Cronin's now on record saying you take the most talented player and you worry about other things later, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what he did last year with Scoot. So you don't draft for fit, in my opinion, for a rebuilding team. You draft whoever you think long-term has the highest upside or is going to be the best player. And so, in my opinion, I don't think you go into a draft saying, oh, would we draft 2 centers? Yeah, it's possible you draft 2 of any position, because if that's the best player on your board, unless you have 2 players that are like in the same tier and that you want to draft one position, I just think you go into any draft, especially in the Portland situation or Detroit situation or whoever, they should just draft whoever the best player is at their spot.
Yep. Agreed.
When is Dame coming back? Blazers are in town, or Bucks are in town on Wednesday.
Yep. Wednesday, 7 p.m., our only nationally televised game on a major network, not NBA TV. We got some NBA TV games, but in terms of ESPN, TNT, ABC, only nationally televised game of the year. So, looking forward to it. We'll answer a couple other questions if you have them after this. But once again, I'd like to thank the sponsor for this post-game show, BetUS. And with the Super Bowl being set, you can now get in on Super Bowl lines. Super Bowl lines. Let me make this a little bit bigger. And we're going to go over a couple of the Super Bowl is always fun because of the prop bets, Eric. I always enjoy seeing some of the things that are offered. And you got things as crazy as Gatorade, okay? What color of liquid poured on the winning coach for the Gatorade? The favorite is yellow/green, okay? The biggest, the best odds you can get, plus 1,400, no Gatorade bath. No Gatorade bath. But there's always a Gatorade bath, so what color of Gatorade? You can bet on this at BetUS, and you can sign up with our link. 125% deposit match, which will give you $125 extra dollars on top of $100 deposit, for example. Also, you can bet on the position of the player to pour liquid on the winning coach. Offensive is the favorite. Defensive, you can get plus 140, which that might be decent odds, because is it normally offensive players?
It's usually just some random.
If the Niners win, it's probably George Kittle, right? If you had to bet.
Yeah, maybe.
Big, strong guy.
Yep. Well, I always think of it like in terms of color. Like Chiefs have some yellow in their logo, but both teams have red. So red wouldn't be a bad choice there at plus 400.
And red is I feel like the most normal baseline color of Gatorade. It's the fruit punch flavor, right? I feel like that is the most, maybe not everybody's favorite, but that's the most popular. So plus 400 odds on fruit punch color Gatorade might actually be a pretty good line to get in on with that link in the description. And then you got, let me back out here if it'll let me. Let's look at the spread line for the game, Eric. Have you looked at this yet?
I think Niners are a slight favorite, but I don't know exactly.
I'm surprised because the Niners are 1-point favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about that.
I mean, that's like a pick 'em.
Yeah, that's basically a pick 'em.
No, I watched something with a Vegas bookie that said that before these games happened that the Niners would actually be favored against both AFC teams. So I was like, what?
Yeah, that's a little surprising to me. I mean, you guys can get in on this. It's basically a pick 'em. So if you want a rooting interest in the Super Bowl, you can place money on either of these teams, and it basically is the winner. Unless right now, if the Niners won by 1, it would be a push. So this line is going to be interesting to see how this changes. We'll check back in with it a couple times before the Super Bowl and see how the point spread line has changed, because the Super Bowl is in 2 weeks from today. Next week is the Pro Bowl, and then the week after is the Super Bowl. So a lot of time for this line to change. Over under 47.5. I think you smashed the over there, Eric, right?
Oh, I was going to say, I think I smashed the under on that because the Chiefs defense is really good.
Mm-hmm.
They held Baltimore to 10 today. They held this Lions team, they lost the game, first game of the season, but they only scored 21 on them. A lot of the games they lost were mostly because their offense never got going, not necessarily because their defense wasn't playing bad.
Yeah. But also the Niners defense, I think, has been questionable, especially today.
True,
I think Kansas City will. I think the Niners have to win a shootout that's in the upper 20s.
Well, I mean, other than Kelsey, the Chiefs receivers have not been great.
Yeah, Rashee Rice kind of came on late in the year. I had him on my fantasy team, so he was one of those rookie receivers that started to improve as the season went on because, rookies can improve during the course of a season. So that over-under total is an interesting line. It'll be interesting to see how that changes as well. Right now, I'd probably go over. You would go under. So we'll lock in some picks right before the Super Bowl and see how we are. I don't want to say it, but right now, I would probably, unbiasedly take the Chiefs in this one because they've always gotten it done, and the Niners have looked questionable for half the game in each of their 2 playoff games so far. But, obviously.
They can't play a bad third game in a row, right?
Yeah, right? That's what people were saying, they got their bad game out of the way. And then they start off this game, they're down 24-7 at halftime. Yeah. I don't think they're going to come back against Pat Mahomes if they have a similar half like they did the first half against Kansas City or against Detroit or Green Bay. So right now I'd probably lean towards the Chiefs. Anyway, we'll go ahead.
If it's -1, you bet $1,000 on the Chiefs. And if the Niners win, we're happy that we're celebrating a championship. Mm-hmm. And if the Chiefs win, you get money.
Yeah.
You win almost $1,000.
I kind of just want to, I don't know. I just want to experience it purely as a fan, Because I've thought about doing that and just maybe I could take the sting off when I get screwed. But I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do it. But you guys can do it. I mean, I'm 0-5 in championship games. I'm a Niners fan, okay? So, hypothetically, if the curse really is real, then getting in on the Kansas City Chiefs is a good play, especially maybe for the first half, because you can also bet on the first half spread line, Eric, and the Niners have struggled in the first half about their playoff games, and they're a half-point favorite. So, this could be a good line to get in on as well with the Chiefs in the first half. So you can use our link in the description box below which will give you a 125% deposit match if you want to get in on any of these lines on BetUS for the Super Bowl. And shout out to them for sponsoring the postgame show.
Please break Tori's curse.
I'm going to do a chat poll, Eric.
I'm sorry, Tori, but if they lose, I'm going to need you to not be a Blazer or Niner fan anymore. So,
well, I have to change something up, bro. I don't know. I've realized I'm getting more and more desperate. Like, the Niners have won NFC Championship games before. I don't know if it was because the way they won this one, but like this one felt different.
Like it was getting breaking the curse or something.
I don't know, dude. I'm just getting more and more desperate. The more and more times I get close and get denied, I get more and more desperate for a freaking championship. Like, dude, I don't want to speak anything.
Get the monkey off your back.
Dude, literally both my football teams are in championship games this year.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them. Washington and the Niners. So, one of them better take care of business. I want to know, chat, who are you guys rooting for in the Super Bowl? We'll see how many people are rocking with us and how many people are rocking with Taylor Swift. Basically, choose your cult, chat. Choose your cult.
Don't you guys want our happiness?
I know. 29% of people rooting on our downfall, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, McCaffrey landed on his head late in the game.
Yeah,
he wasn't out there on the last drive.
Yeah, but that was to like wind clock, you know. Although I would have been a little more comfortable with McCaffrey because he does hang on to the ball really well. That was stressful, bro.
I don't know. They were working on his neck on the sideline, and he looked like it was really painful.
Yeah, but he has 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like especially the Debo playing. Like McCaffrey got 2 weeks. I'm not too worried about that. But wow, a third of our community is rooting on our depression. You hate to see it. They're probably all Seahawks fans.
Wait. Sucks, but I gotta go with KC because I'm a Chargers fan. So you're rooting for one of your rivals in your division?
That makes no sense.
Come on,
bro.
Trader Boggs.
That's your divisional rival. That's your divisional rival.
Yeah, I still can't believe the Lions blew it either.
It's just gonna see. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say thank you, Dan Campbell, for going for it on fourth down, changing the momentum of that game.
You live by the fire and you die by the fire.
It's not even fire, though. You just gotta. If you kick the field goal, you're up 3 scores with late in the third quarter.
Yeah.
Like, it's not very smart.
Them not getting it felt like a momentum play too. Like. Some people say momentum isn't real in sports. I have never bought that for a second. The momentum the Niners had, like, you know, still got to go out there and make plays, make things happen. But the momentum just shifted. The air in the building just shifted.
Well, you go from getting totally dominated and possibly being down 3 scores still, like I said, late in the third, to... oh my God, the Niners have the ball. If they score a touchdown here, they just need one stop and get the ball back and could tie this game. And that's, to me, that's just, I agree with, I like coaches that are aggressive, but to me, that's like reckless aggression, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you to Josh Reynolds, was our freaking MVP this game, because
man.
Dropped another one later in the game.
Yeah, that was... that was crazy.
Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Rip. I remember what I was gonna say. No. It's just gonna be cool to see Brock Purdy as a starting QB in the Super Bowl. For all the freaking haters, Eric.
Versus Mahomes.
And if he outduels Mahomes, man.
I mean, he's got better offensive weapons. That's
He just has to. He doesn't even have to outdo him. He just has. If he like plays well and they win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, what a story!
For me, the biggest, most perplexing part of the 49ers for weeks now has been the inability of their defensive line to get any pressure on quarterbacks.
Or just plug the gaps in the running game.
Yeah, and they weren't setting the edges tonight, and yeah, it was bad. But
they started doing it in the second half, though.
Yeah, in the second half it was much better, obviously. But that's the one reason I was hoping for KC over Baltimore was their line has not done a good job of protecting Mahomes, so I think we can finally get to a quarterback. And now Mahomes could still make plays, and he's spectacular, but yeah.
Yeah. Also, like Lamar's legs are obviously more dangerous, and
right.
If we were playing the linebackers as deep as we were playing them today, Lamar would have had a field day running against us.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of the reason why Detroit the whole first half just had open underneath route after open underneath route, and they just carved us up because our linebackers are playing too deep. Didn't make sense. And apparently Shanahan even turned to Steve Wilkes, who's the defensive coordinator for the Niners, and was like, what are we doing in the first half? It was awful game plan defensively in the first half.
There were leaving 10-yard gaps in the flat, and that's pissing me off. Like, they were just gashing us, man.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, one guy has to make a play where he's sprinting from 10 yards away at somebody with the ball handler that sees, with the ball that can see them coming, and it's like it's almost impossible to stop a guy like that's skilled and shifty and can move, and it's just gashing us on these 8, 9, 10-yard plays constantly. And that's in the passing game. We couldn't stop the run in the first half either. So that was frustrating. In the second half, you could tell they started mixing up their schemes because apparently they ran zone on every single defensive play the first half. And then the second half, they start mixing in some man-to-man, and they had much better success defending the passing game in man-to-man.
Yep.
And it's just like, man, I'm not as smart football-wise as I am with basketball, but I don't know. It's like that. I could have told you at halftime, like, that's what they needed to do. They needed to mix in some man-to-man. They needed to press, and they needed to start mixing in 5-man, 6-man blitzes and actually give themselves a chance at getting after Goff because he's not super mobile. So they did some of that in the second half. It was better.
I also don't understand because there was a point where we had, I think it was 51 straight games or something without a 100-yard rusher, and now all of a sudden we can't stop the run at all. Like, it makes no sense. I don't understand what's going on.
It's wild. It's wild. So, I mean, hopefully Pacheco doesn't have a big game. This is our time for revenge. I feel like we are a better... I don't know. I feel like we should be a better team than we were when we faced the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because we're more experienced. We're older. Like, Debo was a rookie. Bosa was a rookie that year, right? Like...
Frickin'... Jimmy G overthrowing Emmanuel Sanders. Debo.
Jimmy G was our quarterback. We didn't have Ayuk yet. We didn't have CMC. We were, Mostert was pretty good that playoff run, but he's no CMC, so we didn't have Trent Williams. Although no disrespect to Joe Staley, he was a legend, of course. But yeah, I feel like we're a better team on paper, easily a better team now. But
yeah, other than Williams, our line has not been great lately.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to him.
It's going to be a much different game with the Chiefs. The Chiefs scare me more in defense now than they do offense. But
did you guys have Debo then? Yes, but he was a rookie, and we didn't use him as creatively as we use him now. Although we didn't really use him that creatively today because you could tell he was hurting.
Yeah, not 100%.
But that's why I like 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. Hopefully he can get closer to 100%.
We didn't use Kittle at all, man.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. And then his first catch, we try and set up a screen, and they were blowing up most of our screens all night.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if it's to McCaffrey or Debo, even if they blow it up, maybe they can still make a play. But with Kittle, he's good after the catch, but he's not those guys. So,
Yeah.
Wasn't Debo a running back? No, he's always been a receiver, but he can run.
They played him in the backfield a lot early on in his career, but that was kind of a point of contention when he was due money that he wanted to prolong his career by taking less hits out of the backfield.
Yeah, so then they went and got Christian McCaffrey, and people tried to say it was a bad trade for us. You know what I would love for the Blazers to do? Trade for a star like a Christian McCaffrey, where we can then say, okay, did we give up a little too much?
They didn't even give up a first for him.
I know.
And he's been one of the best players in the league.
Dude, I wish the Blazers were ran like the Niners. I wish the Blazers were like the Niners, man. Frustrating that the Blazers are just like the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the opposite, Eric. Instead of Lynch and Shanahan, who have been great, you got Jody and Joe and Chauncey.
Well, like the Commanders hired Bob Myers to help them with their coaching search or GM search or whatever. Maybe the Blazers should borrow Lynch to consult or something.
That'd be funny. Nah, but Jody's a Seahawks owner, so she couldn't.
Yeah.
She couldn't get with the enemy. So.
We'll be back tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm. Another post-game show if the Blazers take on the 76ers.
Yes.
We'll see if Embiid plays.
Yes.
I don't think Embiid is going to duck Ayton.
He's just ducking Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole conversation is, like he was actually hurt, but he wasn't on the injury report. So then it looked like he ducked him, but like he was actually hurt.
Yeah. I
don't know. Yeah. But he can't miss too many more games or else he's ineligible for MVP.
Ooh.
Which is, I like it.
And then we'll also have Blazers Uprise live tomorrow afternoon before the game.
Yes, that might be live a little bit late. I have a doctor's appointment at 2:30.
Okay, perfect, because I might be a little late for that.
Yeah. So, mods, if the stream's going to start late, I'm going to ask you for your picks for games that start maybe before we're live. Okay? So be ready for that. Let's see how many games there are tomorrow.
All right, we got chats, though.
Good question. We'd have to figure it out. There is 2 games at 4. And there is... Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 games tomorrow.
Including the 2 4 o'clock ones?
Yeah, there are 12 games tomorrow.
Well, if we're not live by 4:10, we can just do the
skip the first 2
the
and still have
4:30 ones and still have 10. So yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yep. Or we just get a live spread real quick, although that'd be difficult with the people that text. Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll be live tomorrow on Blazers Uprise live on a second channel. Don't know when. We'll let you know. Post-game show tomorrow night. And then the next stream after that is the post-game show after Dame returns to Portland. And then there's only a
trade.
Yeah, unless there's a trade. Getting close to the trade deadline. Lots of stuff happening right now, man. So looking forward to seeing how things play out. Anyway, that's a wrap for this post-game show presented by BetUS. Shout out to them for sponsoring the stream. Remember that link in the description box below for 125% deposit match if you want to get in on any Super Bowl lines or props. Live again tomorrow night with 2 streams. Looking forward to them. Appreciate all you guys tuning in. Shout out to everyone who donated, even the fake Adrian Wojnarowski. And shout out to all you for supporting the channel. We appreciate you as always. And that's a wrap. We'll catch you next time. Until then, as always, peace out.